Curious who our very special guest is this morning. You know, it's my mom. So, welcome. Here she is, live and in person. So, we are celebrating. I will probably duck out this afternoon, and I have a little bit to do tomorrow morning, but we will be celebrating my mom's third victory over cancer, kicking butt and taking names. So, that's good. And we are happy she is here. Charlene walked in this morning and said, "So good to see you." And her response was, "It's really good to be seen." So next time she's coming, my dad was teasing her last night when we were at dinner, and he said, "What part of your the sales meeting do you still have to work on, Francine?" She's like, "I'm not doing anything in the sales meeting." I'm like, "That's what you think." But next time she's going to talk. We'll see. We'll get her inspired. All right, so we also have a welcome. Noelle is not in our sales meeting this week, but she's going to pop in next week. She's got some things working. She's moving here from Florida. She's originally from New York, but she most recently is moving from Fort Lauderdale, her and her husband and their daughter, River. They're moving her husband's business here from Fort Lauderdale to Clements Ferry Road. And his business makes brick and stone. So that's a good resource for real estate too. But she also was just featured on HGTV. She was in House Hunters. She's got like a little celebrity. So more to come from Noelle. You guys will get to meet her, and I think you'll really enjoy getting to know her. Also, very exciting, we have a realtor in training coming on Friday. Dominique went into the hospital this morning, and she is being induced, and her and Christopher will become mommy and daddy tomorrow. So that is, no, sorry, she's going in tomorrow. No, today. And then baby Elena will come tomorrow morning. So more to come from them with pictures and lots of fun and support to them. We offered to do a meal train for them, and Dominique said, "No, thank you," but I think she's going to change her mind. So yeah, Liz said she'll take it when she has her baby. So more to come on that, and we'll let you know how you guys can help with that, because I know you guys would all be very willing. We have some birthdays coming up. On the 28th, Matthew Pavelka, who you guys haven't yet met. He is a rookie joining us. He has a background in real estate photography, so that's exciting. He's also from New York. All these Yankees coming, man. I'm liking it. All Yankee fans, too. No Boston fans except for these two over here, Allie and Digit. And then January 31st is Dominique's birthday, so she's going to kind of share with baby Elena, which is very sweet. And then on February 2nd, Katie Sinclair. Happy birthday to you, girl. Couple more things coming up on the calendar. We're having our vision boards and cocktails happy hour next Thursday. We have on there February 3rd, but I think the date is wrong. So it's definitely next Thursday. We'll send out an update, but more to come on that. Friends, family, kids, anyone you want, clients, everybody is welcome. And we'll do beer and wine and a couple of appetizers, and it's always so much fun. All you have to do is bring a picture frame. And of course, if you have magazines, bring those too. But we'll supply everything else. And honestly, the power of a vision board is exponential. If you've never done one, you should try it. It's not just for women, so don't get all foofy in that regard, men. It's definitely for you guys too, but it truly is crazy what you can accomplish with a vision board. I showed you guys my vision board a couple of weeks ago. From 2000, I think it was 17. And on the very bottom, it said 1 million. And it said office underneath that. And it took us a while to get there, but we hit it this year. So we're going to celebrate that in a couple of weeks too. The other thing on the vision board I've shared with you guys years ago, when I was an agent still, I needed an assistant. So I put a picture of what an assistant looked like to me. And then I hired Sarah. Many of you don't know Sarah, but I was going to bed one night. My vision board was right next to my bed, and I got all creeped out because Sarah looked exactly like the girl in the picture that I put on my vision board. And I sent it to her, and I'm like, "This is on my vision board. This was the vision of an assistant I had." And she's like, "That's strange," because even the outfit she was wearing was just like Sarah. So it's very, very powerful. Sometimes to a degree that's uncomfortable. So definitely join us for that. Yes, it is at the office. Thank you, Charlene. Yes, it is at the office, Jen. Charleston Heart Association. So Michael has signed us up to participate in this fundraiser. Our goal is $1,000 per office. I was like, $1,000 per office. Patty Vic's laughing over here because you guys know how much we bang out the Charleston Basket Brigade and do like 30,000 in just our office alone, which is really powerful. So Getting every other office to commit for $1,000, I think will be very easy. But the women at the Heart Association are like, that would be wonderful. And I'm like, all right, ladies, let's set the bar low, right? So we're going to kick that off next week. February 5th is Wear Red Day. So more to come on that. I'll inspire you guys to put on your red. We're going to do a group picture. And then there's like a whole week in the middle of February. I think it's actually toward the end of February, where the whole mission, because you can't do a big walk. I mean, there is a walk at the end, but this walk used to be like huge. But because of COVID, they're limiting the number of people. So they're stretching it out over the course of a week. And the goal is for corporate companies to really bond together and do things that are heart healthy related things. So maybe we're going to walk the bridge one day. Maybe we'll just do a challenge, a step challenge to the other offices. We've got some ideas in that regard. So just kind of think through that. Next week, you'll hear we're going to go on a mission to kind of push that and inspire that. And our goal is $1,000 per office. So you'll see our website for the Heart Association put up here in the next couple of days. Floor duty must be present in person for floor duty. The other day, we got a call at the Park Circle office for floor duty, and I was the only one there. And I text Paul, because Paul was the last one there on duty. And I said, hey, do you want this lead? It's a rental lead, but he wants to be in Park Circle. And if you guys know anything about renting in anywhere right now, it's expensive. So it's easy to convert that to a buyer client. The guy's not from out of town. He lives here. Don't really know his situation. But I said to Paul, do you want this lead? And he goes, wait, the phone actually works at Park Circle? And I said, yeah. And then right after that, we had a walk-in. So that's at Park Circle office. Here, I know we've had walk-ins and calls almost every single week in the past, I think we're going on 4 weeks. So you've got to be present now if you want to be on floor duty. We're trying to kind of be a better resource for people. If we're going to put a sign outside that we've got an agent on duty, we should probably have an agent on duty. All right, important memos coming up. So the girls have sent this out to you. I'm going to check in with Alyssa and Tony on that. If you don't have your headshot on Rose, please put your headshot up there on Rose. It would help them out. They can change it for you, but that's not really what they want to do because they might pick a picture you don't like. But anything is better than those creepy, weird looking monsters. So we definitely want to change that so you guys can relate to each other and know who each other are when you use Rose to look somebody up on the roster. Oh, yeah. Yes, we should do that for Tony and Alyssa. So anything we can do to help them, right? All right, quick reminder on Insta Solutions. I think we've beaten this down pretty well. So we'll tap more into that in a little bit, but definitely think through Insta Solutions. As Digit knows, if you have a question or concern about how the search options work or anything, feel free to reach out to me or to Michael. If you think something could be enhanced, I know the new construction one that Michael sent out earlier this week was definitely based on feedback. So now you can put in and search for new construction. New construction agents can reach out to you as well. Keep in mind too, clear cooperation does not apply to new construction. What is clear cooperation? I know you guys are smarter than this. Yes, the coming soon stuff. I don't know why we call it clear cooperation. That's kind of a weird thing to call it. We should just call it coming soon. But coming soon advertising can't be done unless it's within your own brokerage. New construction, that doesn't apply. So if you see like Mungo Homes saying we've got 5 lots coming soon or 5 homes coming soon, that's okay. That's within the guidelines. So just keep that part in mind. Yes. Patty Vick's feedback was she's seeing a lot on social media, particularly Facebook, of companies, agents that are outside of Carolina One saying, I'm looking for this, I have this, that sort of thing, in complete violation of clear cooperation. I haven't heard too many agents from other companies lately argue or dispute the clear cooperation guidelines. In the very beginning, people were like, no, that's not how the rule works. I can send you stuff and you can send me stuff. We just can't send it out to the public. But that's not true. It's anything outside of your brokerage. So we're just going to have to deal with it. I mean, and honestly, I think a lot of agents now know it, but they're just testing the waters. Yeah, could be. Patty said it could be somebody being paid to see if they can get somebody to respond and then nail them. Hopefully not. I don't know if our association has started fining yet, but they were going to. So I feel like we're getting hit with fines left and right. Maybe they'll hold off on that for a minute or two. But we've just got to control what we can control, influence what we can influence, right? So just be very, very careful. If you want to test the waters and put something out there and say, I'm looking for this, You're not liable if somebody responds and says, hey, Greg, I have something coming in Old Village in a week. You're not liable. That's the listing agents. A buyer, yes. Melissa said we can put it on our community Facebook pages. I've got a buyer for this. Does anyone have anything coming? Buyer side, yes. But if we are representing a seller and we say on our community Facebook page, hey, I've got a listing coming up, 24 hours later, it's got to be an MLS. Even if you show it, and this is hard because your seller, in a lot of regards, Laura Goolsby had this, I mean, not Laura Goolsby, Karen Tawes had this situation where I think her seller told somebody, another agent, that they were about to list their house, and the agent called her, and then they wanted to see the property. Well, within 24 hours, Karen's now liable to put that on the market. And your sellers don't realize that. They're like, they think they're just helping themselves, right? And then you're like, well, crap, we're not ready to go on the market yet. Now I got to go on the market tomorrow. So it's tough, but we've just got to manage and set proper expectations and do that work on the front end. Any other questions on it? Greg. Yeah. Awesome question. So Greg said, what if I'm putting it on MLS, but then I'm not making it available to show for X number of days, which is the new way around it, right? So this was on, for those of the ladies who are on that Charleston Women's Realtor Facebook page, this was like a 60 comment thread on it. If you put a property on the market on MLS, it has to be available to show within 7 calendar days. That's the MLS rule. So within 7 calendar days, you've got to make it available to show. I'm not so sure that that benefits your sellers to put it on the market and then wait 7 days, because that could be really overwhelming unless you've got a real strong strategy and Greg puts it on the market and then 7 days later, let's just say it's a Saturday, and he does an open house, blocks off all the showings, and you can only show it Saturday and Sunday. But think about your seller. If we've got 15 people built up waiting to see this because it's been on the market and exposed for 7 calendar days, and they've got to turn their house 15 times to show it, that's going to end up being really, really stressful. So think through it. And it's stressful for you guys on the other end. You know, if you see a property and Greg's like, this fits my client's needs perfectly, but we can't see it for 5 more days. Oh yeah, it's definitely a strategy. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. Let her in. Sherilyn's talking about how it's definitely a strategy sometimes, and Jen had a situation recently where they didn't make it available to show, and Jen called and just negotiated her way into it and ended up getting a ratified contract. So it's hard. Good work, Jen. That's awesome. Katrina has a couple comments here. She says, and I got the deal. That's awesome. CC really needs to make some changes, but if we ask for someone to reach out, if they have something and they do, can the other agent tell us? I'm not sure what you mean, KJ. What I'm seeing are agents putting properties on and waiting the 7 days. I guess it is the way to get around coming soon. Yes, that's what they think. Well, it is the way to get around coming soon. Whether it's the best strategy or not, I'm not sure. Anything else on that? Good? Okay. We did that training last week on multiple offers. Certainly watch that replay if you're confused or have questions about the forms or anything like that. I had an agent call me from another office recently, all stressed out, saying how stressful this market is. She's a top producer. She's like, I just hate that. I feel like I'm constantly disappointing somebody. And I said, I totally understand that. And she's got a house to sell and they want to buy something. And we talked through and she's like, well, I said, why don't you use a reverse home sale contingency? And she's like, why didn't I think of that? So we've just got to think outside the box and lean on your resources, lean on each other, and find creative ways to strategize, because it's a tough, tough market. All right, don't forget about Palm Agent. This is really important for net sheets. We went through this last week. Little video here. It goes kind of quick, but just so you know, this is provided to you by Carolina One Mortgage, Andrew and Sherilyn. It's awesome. This is just one of the features, but in today's market with multiple offers, if you're not using this for net sheets, you're missing out, missing something, even when you're not in multiple offers. Aside from that, it's got buyer calculators. It's got things for social media. It has lead gen calculators that are free. So you can post a lead gen calculator on your social media. And if Allie's just a client on Facebook, she can go to my Facebook post and she can type in rent versus buy, and type in her numbers. And then it constantly looks and says, do you want more information? Reach out to Maggie. And if she clicks it, then I get her contact information. All free, provided by Carolina One Mortgage. So definitely use it. These are examples of the net sheets. Any questions on that? Kimberly asks, when will jumbo loans be available for calculation? On the app? I don't know. That's a good question.
Yes.
Andrew
Yes.
and Sharon will figure it out. They will ask and get back to you. Good question.
Thank you.
I don't know that anybody's ever asked that. Okay, we know the rules. Social media, I think we're good on this for now. It's still happening every once in a while. So if you get an email from me, don't feel bad. Don't be embarrassed. I know it's easy to forget. But if I see it, I'm going to reach out to you guys and say, hey, heads up, you forgot to put Carolina One in your social media posts, because we don't want $1,500 fines. Now they're changing it, I think, as of next week, where if they find it, they meaning the LLR, not only will we get a nice complaint, but you will get a $1,500 fine, and so will I. And I don't want to pay $1,500, and I know you don't either. So if I see it, I'm going to reach out to you. If you guys see it on other people's pages and you don't feel comfortable saying, hey, Katie, heads up, you forgot to put Carolina One in your post, send it to me and I'll do it. But let's kind of help police this for each other. Partnerships. Couple quick reminders here on insurance. So when insurance reaches out, there's a couple of things that they're going to ask your client, and they just thought it would be good to kind of share that with you guys so you know what goes into that conversation. One thing, do you have enough coverage in personal property to replace everything if a fire or disaster occurs? Number two, have you made any recent additions or major changes to your house? That would be really bad if you did and you didn't have insurance to cover that. Condo or apartment, do you know what your HOA's policy covers? This is really important when we're a buyer, when we're representing a buyer. Jewelry, watches, furs, guns, do you have coverage on those items? Did your agent discuss coverages such as flood, earthquake, wind and hail, or life insurance? I think they should also add in their pet insurance, because sometimes people's pets are more important than their children, and you can't put insurance on your children, but you can put insurance on your pets. Just saying. Replace your gun. Melissa said, if we insure our guns, are they going to tell the FBI or anything? I'm not really sure. That's a good question. Probably have that thing registered anyway. All right, production. We've talked about how this is not an easy market. This is a very hard market to be in. Keep your head up. Stay on the high road. Stay focused. If you're having a mental breakdown, call me. That's what I'm here for. I can help you realign. January listing sales and closing activity. We've got 23 listings for the month so far at 12.3, average price of $535. 71 sales, which is awesome. 32 million, average price of $457, and 53 closings for 27 million, average price of $509. Ma, what do you think of our numbers? My mom says those numbers are terrible. Much different than her office, but her office is a quarter of the size of ours. People to thank so far, for the hard work in the month of January. We've got the Smith team with 3, Charlotte McDonald with 4, the Northrop team with 2, Cindy Ellenberger with 3, Ann Wise rocking it up in Polly's with 5, Bob and Sherry Alford, the Ritter group with 7, the Perella group with 12, Holy Crow, Digit Matheny with 2, Mary Guess with 2, Leslie Evans, the McKeechee team, the Poppy team with 7, Bonnie Cook with 7, DuBose Cuthbert, Karen Taz with 3, Duval Acker, Paul Lynch with 2, Elizabeth Murphy, Zarilla with 3, Tommy Lovett, Casey Benton with 9, Jeannie Axel with 2, that's awesome. The Elite Rand team with 5, Laura Goolsby, John and Elaine Nugent, Dorothy Shea with 2, Tina Hartford with 6, Doug Getford with 3, Justin Walkendorf, Kathy Remington, Mary Maloney, Alex Dragus with 2, Whitley Boyd with 2. She's in Disney right now with her kiddos. That's fun. Renee Kramer team with 7, Katrina Johnson 2, Davis and Rivers group with 2. We've got McKeechee team on there twice, don't we? McKeechee team with 2 or 3, something like that. Awesome work, guys. Carrie Walker group, Hometown Property group with 5, Pam Bishop with 4, Fessler team with 4, Melissa Lloyd 2, Cindy Howell, Dominique Snyder House with 2, getting ready for her babe. Madison Reed, Chrissy Strickland 2, Nancy Carroll 2, Jen Huffman, Chip Idlet, and the Palmetto Partners. Awesome work, guys. Nice spread. Good stuff. I'm putting this back in just as another reminder. I've talked to a few people about this. My friend Chandler is actually purchasing a house, and she was talking about how she bought it sight unseen and how she thinks that's the craziest thing in the world. And I'm like, well, Chandler, that's kind of what you have to do nowadays because of this. So this graph depicts the shortage of inventory that we've got. It's about a week old now, but at the time we only had 2,346 active listings. We need 10,122-ish more just to get to some kind of balanced market. Absolutely crazy. So keep it in mind when you're talking to people. The market is fast, but it's hard. Every time I interview people lately, I'm becoming very, very, very particular about who we bring on board, because if you can't hang in this market, it's going to be a real rough road. So I'm telling people, you know, oh yeah, it's a good market. That's why I want to get in real estate. It seems like it's really busy and it's a good time to get in. And I'm like, yeah, it depends on what you mean by good time. It's a good time if you've got the experience and the skill set and the know-how and the wherewithal to deal with it, but it's tough right now. I mean, look at the inventory, literally 0.3 of a month to put a house on the market and sell it, not actually get it under contract, literally close it. So it's very fast. It's very busy. Katrina, I just remembered that we didn't get you the number for downtown absorption rate. So I will do that later this afternoon. But it's a busy market. A couple of additional points. We talked about new construction being 41% of all MLS sales right now. That's really important. Keep in mind that just because you're searching new construction on MLS doesn't mean you see everything. There's stuff that they have coming that they might not have on the market. Foreclosures and short sales are down, but we should be prepared for this to change. So brush up on your short sale and foreclosure skills. We might actually do a class on it because Kristen Ackerman's here and she was talking to me this morning about a short sale that she's writing in front. So they're probably going to start coming, and we need the inventory to be honest. Be mindful that we need to focus on our flow activities. Even though it's a busy market and it's easy to just chase right now, chase properties, chase buyer needs, chase seller needs, we've really got to stick to our basics and make sure that we're doing our flow activities so we don't end up unemployed. A couple of creative cures for this market, obviously leverage our resources, InstaList, Facebook, buy side, all that stuff. Leaseback or reverse home sale to purchase contingencies rather than home to sell contingencies. So your seller receives an offer but doesn't have a place to go yet. Instead of a leaseback, do this offer is contingent upon me finding a home to purchase within X number of days. Search active contingents with Kickout. Andrea and I were talking about that last night. She has about 4 properties her clients love, but they're all under contract. So she's reaching out to those agents and asking if they'll accept a backup. If any of them have a kickout clause, you could end up becoming primary position pretty quickly. Check your database for past sales that meet the criteria of your people. So if Digit has a buyer that calls them and says, hey, I want land out in East Bumble, Digit's like, oh, I've sold 5 of those last year. Let me go call them and see if they want to move. Yeah, East Bumble is very appealing, but Digit did sell like 3 properties in the middle of nowhere last year. Search without active contingents or active status on MLS. That's going to bring up actives, closed, pendings, everything. So expired, canceled, all of that. And then obviously search Facebook, social media, and for sale by owners, but keep in mind the clear cooperation. Quick reminder on this before we go to Andrew and Cheryl. I had this conversation with 2 agents this week, and I really wanted to just send them this slide, but it's a hard thing to ask you guys, especially when you're stressed out. And even if when you spend a ton of time on the front end, you still can't control some crazy clients. Greg and I talked about this yesterday. And this seller I've talked to 3 times, I think, and she's telling me Greg told her about the offer law. If I receive an offer, I have to present it to you. She told Greg he's wrong. And then I said, no, he's actually not wrong. That's true. And he actually even has to sign a form saying he sent it to you and you rejected it. She's like, that's wrong. And I'm like, okay, this is good. And I called Greg back and I said, sometimes we have to fire people. It's up to you if you want to, and I've got your back. But sometimes we're not spending enough time on the front end. Set proper expectations. Ask yourself this question regularly before you start. How much time have I spent consulting and advising and setting the expectation for this buyer or this seller? Because it's tough. And again, give yourself grace. If you've spent a ton of time on the front and they're still losing their minds, you either deal with it and help them through it, or you move on because they're killing your productivity. That's okay. We hire good sellers and good sellers make good choices. Same with buyers. All right, Caravan. We are going live today with Melissa Loy. We're supporting her agent open house. We have the opportunity now to do Caravan live for listings that are upcoming. I'm going to talk to you about that in a second. Melissa sent out an email, or I sent out an email. One of us sent out an email about her open house today. It's in Hidden Cove. She's got a lot of details in there. It's listed at $350. She's going to have mimosas. So now I know all of you are going to go. And she's also going to have Chick-fil-A. So now I know you're really going to go. Chick-fil-A brings the realtors. So let's support her on that. A quick idea, and then I promise I will stop talking and we'll hear from our new upcoming listings, which we have a bunch of. So that's good. If you have a listing coming up, consider this. Put it on InstaList. Go to find buyers under buy side and see what buyers are registered that might match, that might not come up on InstaList. Schedule an open house based on the interest you get from that, and then let us caravan it. So you could schedule an open house for a Saturday, let a new agent do that open house for you, no matter what. Get all your offers on Sunday, and then that Thursday of that week, let us caravan it. Let us get the seller the best potential opportunity that we can do with all of our resources. That's the way I would be putting listings on the market right now if I could. So think through that, and let me know if you have questions on that. But I think that's a good way to go if you've got a listing coming up. All right, Perella Group. Adam, Molly, who's on with us this morning to tell us about the one you've got here at Heart Pine Circle? All of you? I don't see Adam, and I don't see Molly. Probably out working. So we've got 107 Heart Pine Circle, 4-bedroom, 3.5 bath, nice big house in Legend Oaks on the other side of the equator. Just kidding. Super far away, but yeah. Melissa's giving a commercial for those of you at home. Legend Oaks out in close to Edisto, as Melissa's commercial just said, for those of you at home that missed it. Reach out to Adam if you've got somebody, especially a golfer. That's a good house. Reach out to him. Dominique, are you with us this morning? If you are, I'm going to yell at you. Yeah. Alex Strega said she better not be. Yeah, she's not with us. She's about to have a baby. This is 641 Sequoia Street. This is our friend Caitlin's house. She's got it listed at 3 beds, 1.5 bath. It's a tiny house, but a great starter house, 237.9. It's in West Ashley. She's gotten a ton of showings on that, but she hasn't had any offers yet. So reach out to me if you have anybody interested. Obviously show it, but if you've got anybody interested, I'm going to take it over for her while she's, delivering a human. Yeah, my mom said over here doing nothing. I gave her award yesterday, and I swear her belly got like 3 times as wide. She's like, I'm just so sick of it. So it's very fun for us, not for her. 111 Hidden Cove. This is Melissa's that we just talked about. Melissa, you want to say anything else about this to inspire people's attendance this morning? Awesome. Okay. And then we've got Karen Taz. I saw you on here this morning. Tell us about this big beauty out in Old Park.
Yes, it's gorgeous. It's a beautiful Southern charm kind of home. It's got 5 bedrooms, 3 full baths and 2 half baths. Huge frog on the, well, not frog, but playroom, flex room on the 3rd floor. 10-foot ceilings throughout, 3-car garage, lots of storage. Beautiful brick. It's just it's in Old Park, which is also in the back, the reserve part, which is like, fancy foo-foo. There's no pool yet, but there's plenty of room to put a pool and to plan something around that. There's a beautiful little, I call it the wine porch or tea porch, but there's a beautiful little porch on the side, double porches in the front. You can see open kitchen to den concept, even though it is more of a traditional floor plan and has a dining room and a formal living room. It's gorgeous, gorgeous. Come see it.
Nice listing. Good stuff. All right. And Adam and Molly and Derek also have a listing at 109 Barbary Street in White Gables. This is such a cute neighborhood. I actually interviewed a woman not too long ago who lives in there. And it's just so cute. It's far out, but it's very, very cute. Somerville, but close to Knightsville. Yep. Yeah, it's further than Legend Oaks, which is close to the equator. 109 Barbary Street is a 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath, 1,548 square feet, listed at $240. Awesome price. You see they've got a little outdoor entertaining area there. Nice upgrades too. So reach out to the Perella group if you've got something coming there. And that's it. Any have, wants, and needs. Let's start with Critter. You had a question about InstaList.
Yes, good morning. So you made a comment to go on InstaList and see what listings are registered. Sorry, we have someone doing work at our house. You're gonna hear hammer or hammering. So I went on InstaList, but I have a lot of buyers registered, but I thought you said that we can go in there and say, looking for this, and be able to find all the listings that are registered in that.
You can't go in looking for that. You might be thinking of buy side, where you can go into buy side and find buyers. And you can, Paul is saying you can view matches in InstaList without putting a person or a listing in there. So we'll, Paul, would you mind reaching out and just putting in the instructions on how to do that? Would that be okay? Paul's going to save the day and help us with that.
That would be great, Paul. Thank you.
Any buyer or seller needs, Kimberly, that you want to share?
Yes, I do. Okay. Buyer need Mount Pleasant or Cainhoy area, and that is up to 1.6, maybe a little higher, depending on us selling their house for a certain price. And it is a pool, 4 bedrooms, at least 3.5 baths. Elevated is most definitely preferred, and a little bit of a larger lot, not on top of each other. Another buyer need is up to 3.5 on deep water with elevated, and about minimum 4,000 square feet. They also need to be able to enclose the ground level. They don't have to insure it. Another buyer need is Daniel Island or either Beresford Hall, up to 750. And another buyer need is, Hanahan, Cainhoy, possibly Mount Pleasant, up to 350. And she was at 300, so she's upped her price to 350 now. And most definitely at least a main bedroom, the master bedroom on the main floor, and a shed or garage. Thank you, guys.
Awesome. A couple in the chat box for those of you that are here. Leslie has a buyer need, Bell Hall or off Whipple, 400 to 425. Also, West Ashley, something that backs up to the Greenway. And then downtown or Mount Pleasant up to 650. Dan, Poppy, and Laura have a listing coming at 5908 Commonwealth Circle in Dominion Hills in Hanahan. Also on the core Facebook page and InstaList. And Jason Looney has a buyer need in Wild Dunes with a beach view up to 1 million. Shipwatch or Ocean Club preferred. Anybody else here have buyer or seller needs? Huh? Katie said everything, all of those. She needs all of those. Andrea needs a 3-bed up to 750 in Old Village, IOP, Wagner Terrace, Styles Point. Gonna be a tough one, so search hard for that, but you will find it. Anything else? Once, price? Kimberly, you want to ask your contractor if he has any buyer needs or seller needs?
What?
All right. Can you mute? Thank you. There we go. Moving forward, Andrew and Sherilyn. Andrew's going to talk to us about the state of the market. Oops.
All right. All right. I don't know if you heard that, Kimberly, or not, but Sherilyn was just saying that on the Palm Agent, if you go under conventional, you should be able to pull up jumbo. It probably is not going to pull a rate in for you because it will pull a rate in for you, and it's the correct one.
Well, as close to, I think the jumbo rates are better in
All right. Yeah, but I would check with us on rates still on the jumbo ones because it's priced differently than
Thank
conventional.
you. I did
Anyhow, all right.
under that tab yesterday, and I did not find it.
No, she just goes conventional. There's no
It doesn't
separate
say.
listing for jumbo.
Right. You don't say jumbo. You'll just use the conventional line and it'll
When you put the amount in,
adjust. Right. All right. Is everybody aware of what the state of the market is?
no.
Is it slow?
Boring.
It's boring. Everybody is not stressed. It's so calm. But obviously, where do I go here? Business is booming, right? Who feels that? What does that mean? It brings more stress, right? I realized something actually when I was putting this together last night. Is there ever a time in our industry that there's not a stress? No, there's not, because if it's too slow, that's stressful. If you can't find, if there are too many homes on the market, that's stressful. What are we dealing with right now?
Not enough.
Not enough, right? So who can tell me what the 6 foundation blocks of a strong market are?
Inventory.
That's one. That's another. Inventory, interest rate so far. What else? What causes people to buy homes? Demand is one. Affordability is another one. Whoops. Where do I go back?
Hit your floor and back there.
Got it. Employment, wages, income, rates, affordability, consumer confidence, and inventory and pricing. So we know right now employment is at what right now nationally? Does anybody have any idea nationally what the unemployment rate is? It's at 6.7% nationally, which is still fantastic. Fantastic. Does anybody have any idea what it is in Charleston?
4.
It's at 4% even, which is even better than all of South Carolina, obviously on the whole. South Carolina on the whole is at 4.7%, which is still outrageous. 5% is considered full employment. All right. So we know that that's a strong foundation block now. Wages and income and wages, because of employment, actually went up over the last couple of years for the first time since like the 70s. They just instituted the $15 an hour national minimum wage. That doesn't necessarily affect us as much here in Charleston, I don't think, because of the employment that we've got. But the other thing, so let's go back to employment for 1 second. Charleston has been insulated because we are back open for business and have been since what, April? That you can start going to restaurants again. They've got limitations on it, but even our service industry has not been hit as hard as the rest of the country has because we're open for business, right? And so the income has remained with that. Everybody knows where rates are at, that rates are fantastic. So these 3 things right here are the fundamental foundation blocks, right? And then you start going to affordability, consumer confidence. And the one that we're having a struggle with right now is what? Inventory and pricing. So 5 of the 6 blocks are still there going into 2021. So the market's going to remain hot, right? Affordability. It's still cheaper to buy than it is to rent right now. Consumer confidence is back to the highest level that it's been since October, which was the highest it had been since the start of COVID at the time. And of course, inventory and pricing, we're going to talk about that a little bit. Any questions on any of that? I wish more of y'all were in here because it's
Mhm, I know, it's hard.
so when business is booming, what are some of the issues that can cause? Right? You guys can obviously see the screen in the slide, but what else? Somebody help me out. What speed bumps can be created in a process when a market is as hot as this? Difficulty getting a hold of somebody for your buyer, right?
Yeah.
Pre-approvals. Getting a pre-approval because they're in your car and want to make an offer like 10 minutes ago, right? Because why? Because they're in multiple offer situations, and we are three of the last 5 pre-approvals that I've issued have all been for higher than list price. Is that crazy or what?
It's crazy.
3 of the last 5 have all been for higher than the list price. So appraisal delays, right? Volume creates. It's just like on the freeway. The more cars you get on the freeway, the slower the process is going to go typically. And especially if there is any kind of hiccup, it pushes everything else out, right? So
I also think that there's a lot of people skipping steps, not necessarily
That's
our
a fact.
agents, but because they want to get through, like, oh, the property's on the market, I gotta get it, gotta. And then they're like, let's skip the pre-approval process, let's just get our offer, and if it's considered, then we'll get pre-approved, right? We're seeing a lot of agents do it backwards, just to get.
which
to the
is a
result.
disservice not only
Oh, yeah.
to your buyer, but also to the profession.
Well, why would a seller's agent accept the contract without a pre-approval?
Right,
And waste everybody's time?
right.
For the same reason. That's the issue. It's for the same reason as they're doing it on the front end. They want to get the highest dollar amount. They have no idea yet, though. It sounds good. Take this, right? So they may call for a pre-approval letter after the fact. So that's kind of what we're getting to right here. All of these processes, because of the missteps, all go back to the pre-approval. Pre-approvals are not immediate. We still have to go through and look at things sometimes and ask the questions and determine, what do they qualify for? Is there something is there an issue with their income? We need to vet a little bit further. The point with all of that is, especially when it's such a hyper market, you want to make sure that they're pre-approved. Don't take their word for it.
Mhm. Call the lender.
There you go. Call the lender
Verify the
or
down
get
payment.
the letter in hand, right? Before you put them in your car, because you already know in this market that if you put them in your car and they are interested in buying and they see a house that they want, they only have about 10 minutes to put in an offer. So make sure that you're getting them vetted before you get there. All right. Has anybody seen any of these issues yet? Appraisal delays. What are some other things that we come up that you're running into? Inspections, getting title work back in time, right? Underwriting turn times. It takes a little bit longer when there's more volume. All of these are different stresses than we would have in a typical market. So what we're going to talk about is kind of how to avoid some of that. We're going to just spitball a little bit, right? So what are some of the headwinds with the market the way that it is, what are some of the headwinds that we face in 2021?
Is that the dog?
That's a dog. That is a dog on Solomon's Island. So anybody?
All of what you just mentioned, really.
Appraiser delays because appraiser has COVID. That is true. She recovered though. Yes. We almost didn't though. Right, Kimberly? Anybody else? What are some things that we're facing going into 2021? We've already talked about some of them. Unexperienced agents, bad pre-approvals. That's right. It's not fantastic. That's a good answer. Financing. So Sherilyn said that 3 properties on our Facebook page have come back on the market because of financing issues or financing fall through. That's unfortunate, and it doesn't tell us exactly what the financing issue may be, right? So let's go into them here. I'll just put them up. Is that still an issue? Yes, it is, right? People are still worried about stuff. They're still worried about people coming through their house. They're still worried about, now this is also actually a key point for people to start maybe deciding they want to move. right? They started to learn that where they live is too small. They don't want to rent anymore. They don't like their neighbor. They found out a lot more about their neighbor because they were home all day than they ever knew before, right?
At Jimmy Axel's house, the contractor doing the repairs got killed.
Got COVID. So it's still a concern for people right now, right? Again, in Charleston, we're a little bit insulated because we've been doing this now since April. So we've started to learn how to live with it a little bit, right? Is that an issue? Is it remaining an issue going into 2021?
Yeah.
All right.
Scary.
Our rising rates, right? So everything that I study right now and read says that rates are by nature have to go up at some point. When the market is flooded with liquidity, which is basically the government putting money into the market, which is stimulus, right? We are on our third round of stimulus right now. So naturally there's more money in the market, which creates inflation, which requires interest rates to go up to stave that off, right? The Fed has just said that they're still going to try to maintain an equilibrium of a 2% target of inflation, which means right now that's not an issue. So they're holding the rates down still the best that they can because of what's going on, and obviously in the world. But they are expected to rise at some point. At what point? We don't know, but we do expect that it's going to be during the 2021 period, maybe toward middle or end of the year, third quarter maybe. Why is this an issue? And how has this become an issue?
Low inventory.
Low inventory is exactly right. So when you have auctions for every single contract basically going on, that can cause low appraisals. We have not started seeing that just yet, but it's bound to happen just naturally again when people are running up prices when there's low inventory, and there's nothing to compare it against. It's the fear of missing out. Inflation, we talked about that a little bit. I wanted to talk about this a little bit actually, and I'll talk about it on the next screen. But inflation is a worry, obviously. Rent foreclosure moratorium lifted. I will do that. So this just got extended for FHA loans, at least. The date that they extended this through to be able to submit your request for the moratorium of the deferment of your payment is through March 31st now. And you can still get an additional 6 months, even if you've already had a deferment before. So this goes to the point, if it's till March and they can still apply for it until March and then get 6 months on top of that, the rents and the foreclosures of people being kicked out are not going to hit the market then until third quarter, fourth quarter, if that's the case, right? So, which is there a shadow inventory getting ready to hit? Now, one of the things that is important to talk about too is that it's a changing market. Adjust what you're thinking, because it's crazy that there's a short sale coming out right now, because that's the one benefit we have over any of the history of what we've seen in the markets before. There's actually equity in these properties. So because there's equity in those properties, even if we get to the end of the moratorium, these people are going to sell, not foreclose.
Okay.
You would hope, right?
If we do a good job advising.
This is the one I wanted to talk about mostly, and this is what we'll talk about going into the next one. This is why I was asking, is there stress in every market? Your job, right, at all times, is that you guys are psychologists. Everything that we do is basically massaging people's emotion, right? And informing them. Now, when I say poorly or partially, a poorly informed client is almost better than a partially informed client. And that's the issue that we have right now in the market, is that everybody knows something or is being told something by somebody, but you're the expert. So you have to set proper expectations. I don't know how many times it was in your presentation today. It was probably 3 or 4 times in big letters, setting proper expectations. So when we're talking about all of these issues, all of these different things that we see still, as headwinds and the market coming into the next year, how do we adjust expectations for these clients so that we're properly advising them, right? Low appraisals can be avoided if you know that you're going in to make an offer over list price on a property. Are you having the conversation If it doesn't appraise, this is what happens. Not only should you be doing that on the buyer side, but are you telling your sellers that same thing? Are you having the conversations ahead of time to avoid that? If it doesn't appraise, what do we do now? Right? Just again, setting proper expectations. Taking a listing. So this, I wrote this down. Let me see where I wrote that down. Basically, what I wrote it down, there was a thought that I had last night is there are a lot of people out there psychologically that want to sell right now because we are a groupthink society and everybody sees what's going on, whether you've had the conversation with them or not. Meaning that this dude has been living down the street and he has seen 3 houses go under contract and sell in less than a week. Now he doesn't want to miss out. What am I missing out on? Should I sell now? Are they making all this kind of money? Right? That is where the shadow inventory is at. Nobody wants to miss out, even if they haven't thought about selling yet. So there is a lot of opportunity out there. Start hitting those neighbors of houses that have sold. All right. So what are some of the questions that they're asking right now? What are some of the things you're dealing with clients, whether it's buyer or seller?
All of that. Wait until rates go lower.
Should I wait until rates go lower? This goes to the inflation theory.
I don't know how much lower they can get.
Even if they went lower, a bird in the hand, right? A bird in the hand is better than 2 in the bush. There's an old saying in investing that says, pigs get fat, hogs get slaughtered. Does anybody know what that means?
Katrina says that all the time.
It's because she listens to Jim Cramer. But, right, Katrina? But it means that you can be a pig and enjoy the profit. But once you become a hog, you lose, right? Because you're trying to time the market. Should I wait until rates go lower? For what? Right? You can never time the market other than in hindsight. So rates are historically low. If rates are historically low right now, what does that mean then as where's the risk? Historically low means they've never been lower.
So you know, it's only gonna go up.
Right? That means it'll bounce at some point. So again, what happens if it doesn't appraise? Is now a good time to buy or sell? What's the best answer to that?
I don't know. Probably, maybe.
It depends on your situation. Right? It depends on
The lawyer.
No.
that's
Yes.
exactly right.
Yes. Good time to sell.
Oh, yes, no. Exactly. It is a good time to sell. But again, it depends. It depends. It depends on each end, but that's the question. Let them ask that question and then let them answer their own question. Ask them the questions to figure out it, let them figure out their own answer, right? Whoops. All right. Anybody have anything else? Any other things that you're running up against with crazy buyers, sellers, agents? That's right. That's right. Greg said that we need to adjust our mindset on sellers paying for closing costs for buyers right now because they're getting offers that are not requiring that or asking for that, right? So we do have to start shifting that. So that's another deeper question. Where is the money going to come from?
Talk about a buyer going into multiple offers should be considering really paying for the seller's closing costs. And I know that sounds crazy, but talk about making your offer a differentiator from everyone else's. I'm not asking you to pay my closing costs. In fact, I'm happy to pay yours. Because a seller's closing costs really aren't that much.
No, they're
Not
not.
nearly as much as buyers because they don't have a lender involved.
That's right. So is it a good time to buy or sell? It depends on your situation, obviously. But again, the psychology of everybody, they all read the newspaper. They all see rates are down. They all see their neighbors selling. And then they go and look in the MLS and find out what it's, or the tax records and find out what it closed for and go, what am I waiting for? Right. So we're going to see inventory start coming back on the market, and it's not negative inventory. We need it, but it's out there to have. They just don't know it yet. Go find it. All right, guys. Good stuff. You want to do the thank you, Racing? So closings this past week were Whitley Boyd, Pam Bishop, Bonnie Cook, and Kristen Ackerman.
Thank you, guys.
New contracts were the Poppy team, Bonnie Cook and Kimberly Ritter. And new referrals, Poppy team, Mary Maloney, Kimberly Ritter, Joe Keller, and the Elite Ran team. And then inquiries, Cynthia Howell, Duval Acker, Josh Selden, Elizabeth Murphy, and Melissa Lloyd. We thank you guys. We're here for you, and let us know if you need anything.
Good stuff, Andrew.
Good info. Good info. All right, guys, thank you for hanging in there with me. I wanted to just recognize, sorry for the delay today, too. It's about 9 after, so we'll wrap here with something fun and positive. Sorry for the delay this morning, but I appreciate y'all's patience. Many of you were wondering what I was doing yesterday when I said I have no appointments, but I'm available by phone all day. So yesterday, started out at 9 in the morning, actually like 8:15. Got to Salt Point. I picked up a certificate for every single person who won a Circle of Excellence Award in our office, which was very, very exciting to see how many there were. I had Tony meet me there, and then Alyssa tapped in midday, and Tony tapped out. And we started at Cane Bay, all the way up at Alex Terragus' house over here. Unfortunately, she wasn't there. She was working and sending me selfies from e-commerce meeting. But we started out all the way up in Cane Bay, which feels like the other end of the world. And I appreciate Alex choosing Long Point Road more and more every single minute I was driving there. And I was like, it has to be coming up soon. Has to be coming up real soon. And then we went all the way out to Awanda, to Lisa Rivers' house up by Cheryl Lane. And then Alyssa trucked all the way out to James Island to Thorne's house. And we did every house in between and took a certificate and a rose to every single one of our Circle of Excellence Award winners and just tried to bring a little sunshine in the dreary, awful, rainy day that it was yesterday. So I wanted to recognize everybody in the meeting one more time. We will have an award celebration, and that, of course, you know, is a little more encompassing than just income awards, which are very, very important. But this is every person in our office, every team and individual who achieved at least $85,000 in gross commission income in the year 2020 and is worth celebrating. So first, our teams. We've got the Renee Kramer team, the Perella Group, the Ritter Group, Team Poppy, Homes of the Low Country, the Fessler team, Libby and Steve Smith, the Northrop team, Davis and Rivers Group, the Elite Ran team, and the Hometown Property Group. Awesome stuff. Congrats to our teams. I think we actually have teams continue. Okay, and then our individuals. Bonnie Cook, Tina Hartford, Katrina Johnson, Laura Goolsby, Pam Bishop, Lauren Zarilla, Tyler Davidson, Kathy Remington, DuBose Cuthbert, Mary Maloney, Carrie Walker, Casey Benton, Whitley Boyd, Digit Matheny, Leah Fry, Chrissy Strickland, Jen Huffman, and Madison Reed, Thorne Cathcart, Duval Acker, Alex Terragus, Tommy Lovett, Stephen Schleier, Ashley Mars, Dominique Snyder House, and Nia Swinton Jenkins. So awesome, awesome stuff. Very, very cool. The other thing that's really cool is that Alyssa and Tony did this with enthusiasm. And the just little sidebar to this, we had, I think, total 47 stops, and we didn't even go to every person on every team's house because we just couldn't figure out how to do it. It took us until I think Alyssa finished at 4:45-ish. Which was fun and it was exciting. But the cool thing was Alyssa and Tony sometimes walked up to the door and they would say, like, I think Lisa Northrop's husband said, and he's taking a selfie with Tony because Lisa wasn't home. And he said, and how do I know you? And then a couple of times Alyssa walked up to the door and they were like, what are you doing here? Because we sent a text on the way, but some people didn't get it. And people were very confused. And all the brokers that were doing the same thing for their offices and had a group chat. And they were saying, just caught one of my agents in jammies. So we had all kinds of, somebody said, nobody was home. Do you think it would be okay if I just take a little, behind the house real quick because they're on the road? We're like, don't do that. Do not do that. So we had so much fun doing it. It was fun, exciting. We had to get creative. We really are upset that we didn't get to have a big award celebration. When I got to Tina Hartford's house, she goes, is this because we're not having Carolina One prom this year? And for those of you who've never been, it's a big, formal, fun event normally. So we had a good time doing it. We appreciated everybody who let us do it and the time that you guys let us spend out of the office. Hopefully you didn't notice and you we were available for the most part. But we appreciate you guys. We've got something coming for our office. It's going to be at the end of February. We're kind of going to make the most of COVID. I'm going to brainstorm with Andrew and Charlene, Alyssa, and Tony, and I have a couple fun ideas. So more to come on that. But thank you guys very much for your hard work, for choosing Long Point Road and Park Circle every single day of the week. We know it's not easy. And for those of you who live far away and make the truck to be here, especially in person, we love and appreciate that even more. But most importantly, your hard work and your commitment. So stay on this morning if you would like for prayer team. If not, feel free to hop off. And don't forget to support Melissa at her agent open house on Hidden Cove. That's it, guys. Have an awesome day. Yeah.
Thanks, Maggie.
You're welcome.
Can I come to your office to go over there?
How long did your mom get to stay? How long did your mom get to stay?
She is here till Sunday.
Yay! That's great.
Yes, we're
Is
happy.
she gonna